Welcome to this video about the UCAS calculation grading points. I wanted to go through the sheet so that you can see what it is that I have been discussing in class. So as you can see that you get a sign-off sheet at the end of the year, and it allows you to see what points you may have achieved from your grades. So for example, last year you had units like equality and diversity, infection prevention, sociological perspectives. For that, you would have received different amount of points depending on the grades that you achieved. So if you achieved a star as your final grade for your equality, diversity and rights, then you achieved 10 points. If on the other hand, in infection prevention, you achieved a D grade, you got 2 points. So what is suggested that you do is that the unit, you go through your certificates from last year and you take a look at the grades you achieved. If you write out the unit grades on this side, you can calculate the points on this side until you get your final points. Those points would have given you a final grade. Moving on to this year, you will notice that the point scales have doubled, with your research scales going up to 30 points for an A star and down to 6 for a D, as well as the external tasks at 35 points down to 7 at a D, so from an A star to a D. And the other one that's a slight difference number is your ethics in health and social care, which is between 10 points and 2 points depending on the A star and the D grade. So based on that, you'll be able to find the full amount of points that you need to achieve. The reason being is that you want to get to this point. This point is where you are at. When you calculate all your points from the first year and the second year, you will get between an A star or a D grade as your final grade. So you can get somewhere between 66 points up to 330 points. Now that goes over to your tariff points that you have here, which we will discuss in a moment. So main thing is you want to calculate all your points so that you can see what final grade you will achieve. So the main aspect of what you're trying to do is you're trying to get between understanding which points you received in your first year and the university requirements. It is then you can calculate what it is that you need to achieve in your year, this year, your second year. So if we take a look at the requirements, for example, at a university and how you would do that. So for example, if we look at studying at King's College London, you can go through to the website and look for example, nursing, and it will tell you about what it is that you need to be getting. Now, if you take a look at the nursing Bachelor's Science in Nursing degree, and you go all the way down, you'll have details of the course that you can read the description. And the area that you want to be concentrating on is the entry requirements. Now, the entry requirements, you will find that it is the same as the BTEC Extended Diploma if they don't seem to have the information about cash. So don't worry too much about not seeing cash on there. It is equivalent, and I will explain to you momentarily how that is. What you see is the equivalent to 120 credits in a way, or points, and that I will show you as well how to score that 120. If we now move on to Kingston University London to look at a bachelor's degree in social work, for example, and we go through, you can again see the information about the course. There may be some changes due to COVID, for example, but if you take a look and you go further down, I believe there were the entry requirements. And again, the entry requirements that the typical offers go to is A levels at BBB, BTEC distinction merit, so it's your DDM, or 120 points. Okay, so we need to look at what does this actually mean. So 120 UCAS tariff points are here, the new tariff points. So maybe your cousins or siblings from a few years ago may have told you about getting higher points, and that's okay. But they have made the changes, so we need to look at the 120 UCAS points. Now, on this side, you've got your A levels. So if they were talking about a BBB process, that would be 40 times by 3, which is your 120, for example. or you've got your 120 points. So individually, your A-level adds up depending on which grade you're getting. And on the right-hand side here, we've got cash. So if we follow through from 120 points all the way across, you're looking at a B grade. So that's where you're looking. You're looking at a B grade. Now, any points higher, for example, 128, 144 goes up to an A. And then if you drop down to 112, 104, 96 is your C grade. So what you really want to do is you want to look at the cash points that are over here and the new tariff points, which are your UCAS points. So they are the same. If you do find where they're talking about BTEC extended diploma requirements, you can look at it based on this. This is your DMM, for example, or DDM, where they said distinction merit. So that's how that works. Now, the way that we look at it is if we return to this, where you are counting up your points. These are all the points that you're getting after 2 years. And if you want to get 120 points, this is when you need to make sure that you look at between 172 points and 224 points based on the cash point scales. Now, those are the ones that come from here and here. Okay, so these are the ones that you're calculating to get your final points, which are here. Okay. The UCAS points, according to the university, go over this side. So it's really, really important that if we return to our other slide, you want to take a look at what the entry requirements are. So there might be 120 points. Take away the points you've already achieved and take a look at what is left over, because this year is what you want to achieve. So if we return to the other slide, so you want to make sure that here is where you achieve the grades that you need. So if it means that you have to still get 20 points, plus 20 points, plus 20 points, plus 30 points, plus 20 points, plus 20 points, plus 20 points, plus 20 points, plus 10 points, plus 35 points to get to a place whereby you can get enough to be able to get this, then that is what you need to work on. However, what you may find is that you can achieve the same amount of the final point scale by getting a scattering of different areas. Now, you may find that you find some units easier than others, but you still need to aim high so that you can calculate and get all the points you need to get to your final point. Because the worst that can happen is that at this stage, you don't get your entry requirements. So all the work you've done over the 2 years will mean that you don't actually manage to get to university like you plan. Now, everybody should be able to plan for this year. This year, you should be able to plan where you can go, how you can get there without hurting yourself. So this is what I would like you to do. I would really like you to be able to look at the universities, look at which points they're asking for in their entry requirements, and then plan this year so that you can get the highest amount of points to be able to comfortably get into the university that you want to get into, and then work accordingly. Always try and work a little bit harder than you actually need for the university, because you don't know if they may change their mind, and you want to give yourself the option to do better than you expect. And so that's where we're at. So I'm wishing you the best of luck to achieve the highest amount of points and get the highest grades you can to be able to ensure you get the appropriate calculated grade. Good luck and all the best. Happy university course hunting.